Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the Quansheng UV-K1 and this is the genuine antenna from it. This is a dual band antenna, but this antenna came faulty and it doesn't work. As you can see here in the antenna analyzer, you can see here on the graph that the SWR is incredibly high. It's actually 20 over, which means that the antenna doesn't work. And therefore I decided to make a short video and open the antenna and see inside what is hidden. So a little surgery is on my plan. Let's go. Well, I have to be careful. I don't want to cut the wires inside or something. I will try to cut this lower part of the antenna. I hope that I will be able to slide it up, but it is still there, so I need to be more focused on more pressure. Okay, one vertical cut. Well, it's not easy. Well, seems that it's going off just on one side. You can see how thick is this rubber or plastic. Well, at least I know that I can cut a little bit deeper. There is a metal body of... Oh, here we go. Yeah, so here is the plastic, and it was pretty easy to slide up just after you cut this lower portion of the antenna. That's what I supposed to, because I have an experience from the previous antennas on UV-K1. So here we go. That's the antenna inside the UV-K1. We can see also the antenna from the UV-K5. You can see the difference, of course, in the size. You can see that the radiator of the antenna has been changed. There is a tape. It's a paper tape. The antenna from UV-K5 and the antenna from UV-K1. This is the UV-K5 and this is the UV-K1. Both antennas looks pretty similar, but they are definitely not similar. The main construction of the antenna is almost the same, but connectivity is different. In the UV-K5 we have a different radiator. In the UV-K1 we can see this coil-like radiator because of the small size of the antenna itself. Okay, so the wire is 0.7 millimeter thick. It's 15 turns on 5 millimeter coil diameter. Very interesting is that this antenna itself is connected to another coil, which is 9 turns of 0.3 millimeter wire. So we have here 9 turns of the coil, and the coil is connected straight to the center pin of the SMA connector. And also parallel is connected these 3 picofarad capacitor. And this is different, guys, because if you look at the UV-K5, we can see the radiator, which is made of this flexible wire. Then we can see that this antenna is connected to this coil, which is 3 turns of the coil. That is the secondary coil. And here we can see the primary coil. Also, you can see the coil diameter is 5 millimeter. The same here. Coil diameter is also 5 millimeter. Then we can see a primary, and in the primary we have 6 turns of the wire. The wire thickness is 0.3 millimeter here, and also 0.3 millimeter here in this coil on the base. Okay, so the main difference between two antennas is that this capacitor, you can see here, which is almost the same capacity, 4, maybe 5 picofarad, or maybe even 3. This capacitor here is connected to the center pin, you can see, and also see here. But the coil itself is connected to the SMA body, or the ground. But here is this coil and also capacitor connected to the center pin. There is no connection with the ground. And now I'm not sure if this is okay, or this is a mistake or fault, I don't know, or this is maybe about a different design. But the main difference is that the coil in the UV-K5 is connected to the ground, and this coil is connected to the center pin, as well as this little capacitor. So therefore, I don't know if this is an issue of my particular antenna, or maybe this is the main design of all UV-K1 antennas. I don't know. Let me see that here on the antenna. So here on the right side, you can see the UV-K5. You can see that the antenna is connected straight to the coil. We have 3 turns, and then we can see this tiny capacitor, which is going to the center pin of the SMA. In the UV-K1, we can see antenna radiator is also connected to the coil. This coil is not interrupted, it's 9 turns here to the center pin. But here, this coil is ended up to, you see, to the ground. There is no connection to anywhere, just to the ground. Here we can see this coil is connected to the center pin. And that's the main difference. I think that's the reason why you can listen on HF frequencies on these stubby antenna. From the HF perspective, we actually have here just a little piece of wire connected to the center pin. But this antenna doesn't receive an HF, of course. By the way, very interesting thing is that when I'm transmitting with the radio a little bit longer, I found that this portion of the antenna is heating pretty much. I think that this LC circuit is overheating during transmission. I think that something else could be good to use here. No, just plastic. The question is, what's an issue of the high SWR on this antenna? I don't know. Maybe you can write me down in the comments if this is an design issue, or maybe there is something else. Everything is connected pretty well, so I don't see any fault on this antenna. I tried to measure this tiny capacitor which was on the antenna, and it should be 3 picofarad, as you can see on it. And if we look at the meter, you can see that it's almost accurate, 3.3, but plus minus, of course, we have some wires around. So 3 picofarads, so capacitor is fine, okay? Therefore, I try to connect something else on the antenna, and here we can see the variable capacitor. And see what I've got on the SWR meter now. You can see that I've got into the center of 2 meter band with that capacitor. So maybe the whole issue is in the capacitor. I don't know. All right, but I tried also different connections. I tried to connect these design like in the UV-K5, that this coil has been connected to the ground, and it doesn't work actually. So you can see also I tried to connect capacitor here to this primary and secondary. I tried to divide the coil, and it also doesn't work. The only thing what is working is this design. This is an original design. I just replaced the capacitor for a variable one. And also I found one little thing, that this coil is not very well fixed, and I can remove it pretty easily. You can see that soldering is not maybe very well made, but this is not an issue, of course. I think the whole issue is in the capacitor inside. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video, and 73.